Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is NJ427 here with your first ever Next Gen Wrestling World podcast. This is the first podcast, ladies and gentlemen, and yes, this is going to be a podcast series, but there's not just going to be podcasts, ladies and gentlemen. Don't remember, there's going to be reviews, more stuff. There's going to be some more segments I'll be doing, but ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my first ever podcast here on this channel with NJ427. I'm really excited to be starting out my journey on this channel. It's going to be a great journey. It's going to be some great content on here, so make sure you stick around. And obviously, you can already see our topic for the whole podcast, and it's the WWE Draft. But before we get started, once again, I would just like to say welcome to my channel. And if you like this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, whatever you can do. I'd really, really much appreciate. So yeah, let's just get started. WWE Draft, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, and just so you guys know, I didn't really clear this up. I am a big wrestling fan, obviously, or else I wouldn't really be talking about this. But that's kind of a no-duh question, excuse me. But yeah, we're here to talk about the WWE Draft, my first podcast, and I figured it'd be a good topic to talk about. It's really going. There's lots of questions to be answered, and I'm here to answer some of those questions, actually. Well, not all of them, but, this is going to be divided up within 4 segments of the draft. So, segment 1 is going to be, about the WWE Draft and the pros and cons. So, let's kick that off right now. Okay, guys, so, let's get started here with our first segment of the, podcast, the WWE Draft, about the WWE Draft and the pros and cons. About the WWE Draft, it's obviously a show that there's going to be matches on, and usually after the match, there's going to be on the Titantron, who, like, a random superstar is going to get drafted to Raw or SmackDown, and sometimes even there's matches where, like, for example, Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. If Sheamus wins, he goes to SmackDown, like, the winner of the match goes to SmackDown. I think they've done that sometimes. But we haven't seen the WWE Draft since 2011, I believe, and it's back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hope it goes good. And speaking of that, we got our pros and cons of it. Now, the pros, well, there's really only one pro and one con, basically, out of the whole. The pro is that more guys are going to get spots on the show. There's lots of guys that are jobbing right now. There's lots of guys that are getting buried down the drain, such as, let me just name some names. The Ascension, the Social Outcast. Wow, there's not as many people getting buried now, but there is. A lot of those people got released recently, obviously, Sandow and, but those are just a few names that, I'm really disappointed that are getting buried, because, like, I feel like when the Ascension came in, I was so excited for them to come in, and then they just got buried completely. They were built up as this Road Warrior type of team, and everybody's so pumped, and they brought them in at the wrong time. It was such a wrong time to bring them in, but hopefully they can get put on cards more with this, get more chances on, the shows. And the draft's actually coming up pretty soon. I believe we have a Raw, which is actually in Detroit, where I live in Michigan. So I'm not going to that though. So. A lot of people bought tickets for that thinking it was going to be the draft, but it's not. And then there's another SmackDown, and then Raw. So we got, 3 more shows until the draft, I believe. So we're getting it's right up on us, ladies and gentlemen. And then the con is basically, what if 20 people get injured again, like there was this year at one time, and they run out of guys for each show? Then they have to bring somebody from Raw. What if that happens again? Now, WWE hasn't really said, we're going to use more caution. That's kind of impossible. If somebody gets hurt, they get hurt. It's not going to be defined if they're going to get hurt or not. It could happen anytime. Freaking Roman Reigns could get hurt anytime. No, not right now, because he's on suspension. Ha ha ha. I'm just kidding. Anyways, but yeah, so that's basically the pro and con. And that's about it, and that's just segment 1. We're about to move in segment 2, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the next segment I call Who's Going Where. Basically, who are going to be the top guys on Raw, who are going to be the top guys on SmackDown. If I had to predict, these would be my guesses. Now, I picked 3 top guys right now, the top stable, and the top diva for the show. So, in total, that's 5 names, but for the stables, it could be, 2, 3, 4, remember, you never know. But, so for Raw, I went with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, New Day, and Charlotte. Charlotte being your diva, of course, New Day being the stable, and then the other 3 top guys, AJ, Roman, Seth. That's just my prediction for Raw. And then SmackDown, of course, it's been rumored Cena and Dean are going to be starring on that, and I actually did think that through, and I think it's going to be happening. Cena actually going to SmackDown for the first time. Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens along with them, the Wyatts, and Sasha Banks is my prediction for basically that. And if you want to add on another stable, you could put the rest of the club with AJ Styles, and put like Enzo and Cass on SmackDown. Whatever WWE wants to do. Like I'm not gonna go through all the mid-carders like Apollo Crews and Sheamus and them, and I'm not gonna go through all of them because that's just gonna be too much. It's too hard to guess. I mean, Apollo Crews could be going anywhere. You never know. But you can kind of guess with like Seth and Cena. You can kind of guess with them. You can kind of and that's basically my thing about who's going where. And it could be different. It could be spot on. Who knows? Only one way to find out is watching the draft, and of course watching the draft. I mean, I wonder if they're gonna be drafting like a bunch of mid-carders too. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. I'm really excited for this, but those are my predictions. I'm staying with those predictions, and yeah, we're about to move into segment 3. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are at segment 3. It's going to be called Returns and Wild Cards. Ladies and gentlemen, there's been rumors of who's going to be returning and who's going to be a wild card. Now, wild card is basically NXT. Guys being pushed up from NXT roster over to the main roster, either on Raw or SmackDown. But first up, we're going to do the returns. It's been rumored so much that Kurt Angle is going to be on the draft. I've even heard Brock Lesnar, but I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be on the draft because Brock Lesnar is a part-timer. You can't really like define where he's going to be because let's see if Cena's on SmackDown and Seth's on Raw. Let's say if you want to have him feud with Seth, he'd have to go on Raw, but then the next month he's going to feud with Cena on SmackDown. That would kind of be stupid because he's not on a designated roster. So that'd be a little, as some people put it, unfair, but I don't think it matters. I'm not putting Brock on my return list. He's just going to SummerSlam. Same with he's facing Orton in SummerSlam. It's going to be hopefully good. Kind of looking forward to that. I'm not too sure what to think right now. There's really no build to it, but I don't know. Maybe Orton and Brock will be drafted on a roster and they'll be feuding. I don't know, but I doubt it. But Orton maybe, but I don't think Brock is going to be on a designated roster. Kurt Angle definitely, I think, would be in a return, but I can't say, 100%. I'm not going to say 100% on Kurt Angle, so you never know. Other ones that could be returning, I've heard Stevie Richards from the BWO, which would be freaking amazing. I would love that. Stevie Richards is so cool. MVP, Carlito, Drew McIntyre, and Hurricane Shane Helms. I've heard those 5 names, and those would be perfect because they could put over some newer guys, and they could definitely take some more spots in the roster, extend both of the rosters a little bit more. But then again, you still want to get the guys that you're burying up there as well. So, those are my predictions for returns. Those are all possible returns. I'm not saying all of them are going to happen. I'm not saying they're 100% going to happen. But I think that at least maybe 2 out of those 6 maybe will come back. Hopefully. And now we're going to go over to the wild cards, which is basically all NXT guys. So, and that even extends it more. I got Shinsuke Nakamura, Finn Balor, Asuka, and the American Alpha or the Revival. Now, people are like, man, you're crazy. Shinsuke, Finn Balor, and Asuka? Yeah. But the thing is, there's going to be, once the Cruiserweight Classic's over, there's going to be so many more guys in NXT. You already got Gargano and Ciampa in there, which is freaking awesome. Those are 2 great wrestlers to have on an NXT roster, and I believe they were tag teaming, but I think they're facing each other. I looked at the bracket for the Cruiserweight Classic, and I actually saw them. They're going to be facing each other. That's going to be a sick match. But Yeah, you got guys like that, and then after the Cruiserweight Classic, guys like Zack Sabre Jr., Akira Tozawa, Rich Swann, they might be getting signed as well. I've heard Tajiri might sign. He's in the tournament as well. It's all possible for these guys to be signing contracts, a lot of them, actually, because WWE likes a lot of them, so, I'm actually probably gonna be doing a podcast on that and who's gonna win and everything. But that might be my second podcast, or I'm not sure what I'm doing for my second podcast. But we're on the first podcast. Let's stay on that. The American Alpha was actually predicted to come and be on the main roster, but the Revival wasn't really said, but that could be it. The Revival could come, but then again, the tag team division in NXT is so fucking weak right now. They don't really have that good of a tag division at all. I think the top two ones are Alpha and Revival, and that's going to be a big loss. But then again, like I said, if you bring in these Cruiserweight Classic guys, if you want to sign contracts with them, you can get some good tag teams going in there. Keep Gargano and Ciampa, make them a top tag team, you could make stables, honestly, but, you got to make them good. You could put Akira and Rich Swann together. I think they teamed up in the Dragon Gate. I'm not sure if that's a true fact, but I think it was something like that. But, yeah, people are like, oh, Asuka's women or NXT champ or women's champ right now, but she could lose it at any time. You still got you can get some girls coming in there. I don't know. But those are some ones that you need to keep an eye out for as a wild card. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to happen, maybe 2 out of the 4, as I said, but yeah, those are my returns on wild cards, and that's a really fun thing to be putting out there. So, yeah, and we're going to be moving into our last segment of the WWE Draft Talk, and we'll see you then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the last segment is Title Split. It's what it's going to be called, and, I haven't really thought too much about this because, it's kind of bound to happen. It really is. 2 world titles. It is bound to happen because, I don't know. I believe that they're going to bring back the World Heavyweight Championship. They might, they might give it a new look. They might do a new look for it. I'm not too sure. Or they could bring back the regular classic one. I don't know what they're gonna do. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. All I know is that I think it's bound to happen that there's gonna be 2 world titles, one on the heavyweight, one being on SmackDown, and then the WWE title being on Raw. And as you saw recently for Dean's, when Dean was carrying the title, they were referring it to it as the WWE Championship more than the Heavyweight Championship. So, yeah, if you didn't see that. And I also do believe that the Intercontinental Championship will be going to SmackDown, and the U.S. Championship are going to be going over to Raw. But if you have, a guy like Cena on SmackDown, you could put the U.S. on SmackDown. But I remember for the other... Man, come on. For the other drafts that, freaking... The Intercontinental was on SmackDown and the U.S. was on Raw. So that's what I remember. Now, a lot of people have been saying, is there going to be 2 Divas titles? Is there going to be 2 tag titles? The 2 tag titles could happen because there is buried tag teams, like I said, the Ascension, Social Outcasts, and you could throw those guys in. And if you have another tag team come in, the American Alpha, you could always do that. But it's not bound to happen, but it could happen. So keep an eye out for that. 2 tag titles could happen. Now, the women's title, I'm not too sure about. That is, I don't even know what to think about that. I'm not really, the Divas division is kind of boring right now, to be honest. I'm not really, there was a few spots this year where it was okay, and it was enjoyable at some times, but right now it's just, Charlotte needs to fucking drop the title already. I'm sorry, but they need to take it off, now, because... People want to... If you put the belt on Sasha, people will be interested. Charlotte has had it way too long. Dana Brooks is being her puppy dog, which is dumb. That's so stupid. But, yeah, that's just my thoughts on a Divas title split, or a women's title split, excuse me. But, yeah, I'm not really too sure what to think on that. It's not bound to happen. Same thing with the tag title situation, but it's bound to happen that there will be 2 world titles. And there's already 2 minor titles, the U.S. and the Intercontinental, and already U.S. to Raw, Inter to SmackDown, and yeah. That's going to be it for the title split. Alright, guys. So that's my opinions and thoughts and basically rumors and predictions, all those things within this consistency of the WWE draft. I'm excited for it, but then again, it's really risky for WWE to do. Like I said, 20 people could get injured again next year, and it could be a cluster fuckery altogether. It could go out really good, which I hope it does, because like I said, these guys that are getting buried could get put over, which is always a good thing, I would love to see the Ascension come back and be a sick tag team, because that's what you need. The Social Outcasts, they were doing good for some sort of time, and now they're just buried. I mean, you saw them at the freaking food fight, the 4th of July food fight, but that's about it. Darren Young, I'm pretty sure he's going to be drafted somewhere. I think he's starting pretty soon, and Bob Backlund, I've heard, is going to be his manager and stuff, and so I'm hearing stuff about that. He could get pushed, Pushing all these guys is such a good idea, you need to get these guys over. That's what I want, and that's what WWE needs, and that's what a lot of other people want. For these guys that are getting buried that are so good in the ring, it's just so disappointing. Like, I remember I think Roderick Strong signed with WWE very recently, and I was like, man, I hope to God he does not get buried. Roderick Strong is one of my favorite independent wrestlers on the planet, and I can no longer call him that. So yeah, I've heard rumors he's not on a designated. I think he's I've heard he's signed. It's been keeping quiet, but I believe he's signed if I recall. But yeah, I just hope they don't bury, because if they bury him, that's gonna suck. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on all the WWE draft and what's gonna happen. And like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. That was your first podcast, and do some requests down in the comments if you want my second podcast to be about. Give me some topics. I'll talk about those if you want me to, and I'll do that for you guys. Requests and questions are always respected and appreciated. I will be answering those. I always check my comment section, so be sure to ask me some questions. Ask me what topic to talk about in my next podcast, or yeah. I got some Chikara stuff coming at you soon. Some Chikara reviews, ROH talk, stuff like that. That's coming at you. And, yeah, that's my first Next Gen Wrestling World podcast. First one ever. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, thank you so much. Hit that like button. Now, smash that like button for me if you can. And, hit a subscribe if you like this content. And make sure to, tell your friends that, Next Gen Wrestling World podcast is here. And, I'm NJ427 signing off. See you later.